The Expert Series is brought to you by Draw It Paint, the dry erase paint company that specializes in the highest quality of whiteboard walls available worldwide. Draw It Paint is constantly undergoing tests and procedures to ensure industry-leading, top-quality products with 3 selections to choose from. Recruit, Unique, and Limitless are guaranteed to suit all your dry erase paint needs.
Speaking on the topic of social media, what do you like the most about it, and then what are things you hate about it? Like either like personal, like just personal use, or like business wise, like.
Okay, so my firm belief, I'll be very candid about this question because I'm a millennial. I'm 28. So Facebook started. I got my Facebook when I was in, let's say, like middle of high school or something like that. So that's kind of when social media started becoming a thing. I only use it for business. I got rid of all my personal social medias right after I graduated college, and I only use it for business. It is very specific towards business. I don't want any personal information up there. I think that doesn't look good. The way that I view social media and how it should be used is businesses used to have a website, and you would refer to their website to find out who they are, what they're about. Now you give somebody a social media handle, and that's where they look. And it's kind of just created an organization between companies, I guess, if you want. I think that it becomes a problem when people use it all the time. And I'm not talking about the people who post. I'm talking about the 95% of people who don't post, who there's statistics that show that it leads to depression. There's statistics that show that amongst a certain age demographics, but I think it's a much younger age demographic, like sub 20 or sub 18. I've heard that it raises the suicide rate. I don't know how true this is, but I've heard this, that amongst like younger people. I don't follow any of my friends because I don't want to see their highlights. It's going to make me feel bad. And I think that that's a big problem with social media. People are looking at other people's highlight reels and are not. They think that, why is your life so good and my life sucks, when quite frankly, that's not even the case. I mean, when quite frankly, the person that's posting is miserable right now. And so it's kind of just a backwards thing. I think it should only be used for business. I only follow people that I do business with. The only reason that I post consistently is to generate business. I have a show right after this phone call. I have a showing in Queens through through Instagram. You know, that's, if you're not on social media to make money or push a message, don't be on social media. If it's just for personal purposes, don't be on social media. It's more negative for you mentally than positive. It's a good way to stay in touch, but you know, you can keep a Facebook for events, and if people send you events and everything like that. But I think that things like Instagram and Twitter, they're just internet fights for the most part, especially Twitter. I mean, you see these arguments where people are just arguing. They don't even know who the other person is, and they're arguing through a virtual screen. It's kind of funny, actually. So those are my thoughts on social media. I think it should just be used for business, nothing personal.
Yeah, I can totally agree. I think social media does have, there's a lot wrong with it. Like, it is good for entertainment, stuff like that, or whatever, finding things or whatever. But when it comes to when people are looking at things like personally and stuff, all it is good stuff. You never have negative stuff, because who's gonna post they crashed their car? Who's gonna take a picture and post that on Instagram, or if they got in a breakup, or whatever it is? No one's posting that, even though that's always constantly going on. But I feel like it does have something to do with people too. I feel like this younger generation needs to be taught to not take it so seriously or something.
Yeah.
Because like if you're insightful enough to know like, yeah, like social media is a mask for like all the bad stuff. It's basically just all the good stuff in other people's lives.
Yeah.
If you just learn not to take it personally or feel like some other people are having such good lives, even though that's never the case. No one has a perfect life.
You can't do that. But I just feel like we're human. We can't make ourselves subconsciously do something. Sorry, I interrupted, but
no, it's good. No, yeah, I get that. It's hard for a person themselves. I'm saying it's like maybe if we had like if society kind of raised us to be like don't take things so like seriously, like on this like social media is a powerful thing. Like you can go on it, but the moment you start like you start seeing stuff that's making you down, that's when you just turn it off and go do something. Like go get a hobby or something. Like go outside and like maybe start jogging or whatever. That like do something like in reality kind of deal.
No, I agree with you. The problem is people don't know that. So when they're stuck on this, like I know people who live on their Instagram and Facebook. It's like they don't do anything but scroll through their Instagram feed. I'm like, come on, like do something. Like you said, do something. So whatever.
I think that's a message to promote is like getting people out more. I feel like social media keeps people inside a lot too, which is not good. And it also ruins communication skills. Like, honestly, I've talked to many people off of social media, and then like when you actually like see them or whatever, whether it's through Kijiji or whatever, like it is, they're like really awkward or something. Like you can tell they don't honestly get out that often because it's just like they're too nervous when it's face to face. It's just like
I've heard that's a big issue with the current kids in middle school right now. That because kids in middle school and high school, that because they are so used to communicating on the digital device, like you said, they're awkward when they communicate face to face, or can't do it, or feel scared when they do it. It's anxiety. It's interesting.
Yeah, and the thing with social media is that it's like one of those things you have nothing to lose on almost, because when you're talking to someone, it's so much easier because you're not afraid of embarrassing yourself or whatever. Like you could post the best pictures of you, like, and then people will be like, oh wow, like like look at this guy. Yeah. And in reality, you're like, oh no, my hair doesn't look right or something like that. Or even you're just embarrassed on how to keep a conversation. I don't know. It's just, it's a mental thing. Is that when you're in the presence of someone else, some people just get extremely nervous.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. I mean, some people are that way. Some people are that way. Social media makes it worse.
And it goes for like maybe cyberbullying too, is like way more common than just someone bullying someone right up front. Because cyberbullying, you're hiding at home doing it. Yeah. Like you don't have anything to lose on your end.
You can't escape cyberbullying. That's the problem. It used to be with bullying. I've heard a couple psychologists speak about this. With cyberbullying, especially, when you are at school, you can be bullied by the person there, but once you go home or you're in class, you can't be bullied anymore. With cyberbullying, you're always being bullied, even when you're home, even when you're in class and checking your phone, because people check their phones in class. It's tough. Yeah, it's definitely tough.
And it can also like escalate quickly to the amount of things that people could try to expose you.
Absolutely.
Like it can get bad with cyber. Like I don't see a lot of it. I feel like, I don't know, I'm not sure, but I feel like cyberbullying, like it still does happen, but like, I don't know, maybe I just wasn't exposed to any, like I've never really heard, because our school was pretty good actually, honestly. We didn't really have a lot of that going around from what I've heard. Because cyberbullying usually, there's always rumors or something, or there's always someone getting exposed on social media or something. I never really saw too much of that, but I feel like cyberbullying, I don't know. There's a lot of social media is so weird because you can't tell when someone's being serious about something. There's like, I follow a bunch of meme pages and stuff. All that content is not to be taken seriously.
Yeah.
And sometimes there's some controversial stuff in it, but it's a joke. It's not to be taken serious. But there's some people that are like, oh my God, I can't believe this. And there'd be arguments in there. And then people be calling each other names, but at the end of the day,
behind the phone on the toilet too.
Yeah, it's not, even just that, you can't even take it seriously. You can't take any of it seriously because it's just social media. It's just a meme page. It's a joke that someone got offended over. So then someone's like, oh, you're the joke. And then it just escalates, and then it's ridiculous. It's funny to look at. Like, you get a laugh out of it when you're just a spectator. You're like, wow, these guys are really mad over like a joke, right?
People get offended over the littlest things.
Whatever. That's another thing. Like, it seems like the world's a lot more sensitive than it used to be. Do you think social media has to do with that?
Yeah, I do. Yes. I think that a lot of, I'm not saying that any of these things are bad or good, but I think that social media has definitely driven many progressive movements that we're seeing, today in the last 4 years. And I think a lot of the progression has been through social media. I have my thoughts as to why that is. I think that a lot of it has to do with now people who thought that they were alone people with ideas who thought that they were the only ones with these particular ideas now have communities that they can discuss these ideas with. And is it positive reinforcement? Absolutely. They kind of get themselves into a hole, but it's definitely resulted in some of the progressive movements that we've seen in the last 4 years. I'm not saying if they're bad or good or anything like that. I just think that social media has kind of accelerated the movements. So,
yeah. What do you? It's really just a drive for that kind of stuff. It can be drive for anything in business and all that.